Hello, everybody. I feel like making sketchbooks. I made one earlier today. I made this sketchbook, and I used pastel pad signature paper from Montmartre, and it is. I don't know if I'm opening this backwards or what. It's lovely, and the way that it's bound and put together is just with masking tape, except for a little bit of Modpodge to attach some cardstock for a cover. But yeah, it is really, really cool. I followed a tutorial for a photo book, making a photo book, which I'll link the video that I followed below. I think it is also really cool for a photo book, but it's incredibly excellent for a sketchbook, and it lays completely flat when you open it up the way that it's bound, and it's lovely. I have made other sketchbooks in the past, and that's what I was originally going to make because I have had some people ask how I did it, and these ones I just used Mod Podge to bind it and then a little bit of masking tape on the end. And what's nice about these ones, aside from being on lovely Fabriano watercolor paper, they also lay flat and they utilize both sides of the paper. So like this is just a single sheet of paper, whereas these ones are the backs are attached together, so you don't actually get to use the reverse side of the paper, which for this paper is fine because it's pastel matte paper, and the front side has a texture and the back side is smooth. So I think this works really well. And I have more of that paper, so I'm gonna make more sketchbooks. I also have maybe I'll do one little one like this, so that you can see the process of how I make these just with using glue, like white glue, Mod Podge type thing. It has to be liquid glue, liquidy glue. And then I'll do another one of these because it's just really fun. Yeah, so supplies, what, if you want to follow along, not a tutorial, but like by all means try to follow my process. You'll need a ruler, a cutting mat. I mean, you can use scissors if you want to, but for this one, precision is a little bit more important than for these ones. And some sort of knife in which to cut your paper. And masking tape. So I used a combination of, can I get to it? Literally just masking tape. I have this artist tape. I think it Kamoi tape that I got in Japan. It's like Nito tape, but a different brand. It's really nice. I was a bit reluctant to use it, but I used it. And then I also have this pink Scotch brand delicate surface tape. So these are like the two masking tapes that I have on hand. Use any masking tape that you have. It will be fine. Or even clear tape or whatever that you have, any sort of tape that will hold. I would say not like decorative washi tape, but anything else should be fine, I would imagine. And then bonus, if you want to add covers, if you have any cardstock hanging around, any like back boards of paper pads, or even like cereal box cardboard or something like that. I'm looking at a box of Kleenex. That would work as well, so long as it is the right size to cover your paper. So I'm gonna put on my overhead camera so that you can I can show you my process, and we'll just get into it and make a couple of sketchbooks, and I hope it's fun. All right. So here's the sketchbook that I made today. The back page is a little bit, or the back cover is a little bit long, but that's okay. That lets me know that that's the back cover. I covered it in acrylic paint, just so that it wasn't blank cardboard. And then, like I said, this is Mart pastel pad paper, and the size is 11.7 by 6.5 inches, or 297 millimeters by 420 millimeters. And I did cut this up. I cut up one sheet of each color. So this pad comes with 4 colors in it: a green, a cream, a pink, and a white, or like off-white. And so one sheet of 4 pieces of paper made a sketchbook this size, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Yeah, so you can see the tape binding there, and then each one is taped together back to back. And then it's like this big accordion thing, and then you do the binding at the back, and all of a sudden you have a really cool sketchbook. So super excited to use that. This is the other one that I made. Very kind of similar, but a little more rustic. And the paper that I used in here was Fabriano watercolor paper. And then just, again, another piece of, like, you know, the boards that you would use to back artwork. And this one, I just cut pieces of paper, folded them in half, put them together in a stack, and then like squeezed them tight using some clips, and then just brushed on Mod Podge, let it dry, brushed on more, let it dry. And I did that a bunch of times until it felt like it was enough. Very subjective. And then I glued the covers onto the front and back of the sketchbook, and then I just used some of that masking tape to cover the binding so that it is a little bit more secure, and it's held up pretty good throughout use. There are some pages that are a little wonky, but it's fine, you know? It's fine. So I would say, like, if you're going to follow along, whatever paper you have that you can cut down to size is great. I used to have this big roll of the Fabriano watercolor paper that I have since used up in all of these things and other things. But this here is a little tiny one that I made. Same process with the glue. If you don't know Modpodge, this is Modpodge. Classically 70s, never change your logo, please. Yeah, so same process here, Modpodge, and then tape to cover it, and then same with this one, just, you know, whatever size you want to cut your paper down into to get, like I said, I would say like a good amount of pages in your sketchbook will be great. So, and in terms of like actually using a homemade sketchbook, I think there's just something a little bit more fun about it. Just a little bit more fun. Yeah. They also make great gifts if you have friends who make art. So this is the pastel pad from Mart. This was given to me by my friend Steph. And yeah, it has 4 colors. It has a textured surface. So the front has texture to it, and that's not great. But oh, that's the back. And then the front of this one has like nice texture to use with pastels, oils and oil pastels, and like dry pastels and all that pastel-y goodness. So I think I'm gonna start with the one that is bound with Mod Podge, and I'm just gonna take one of these white pieces of paper, save the colored ones, and yeah, start cutting it down. I have, oh yeah, another thing probably would be helpful is a pencil. So very scientific-like, I'm just going to try to find, actually let me get my numbers and find out what the middle is and go from there. So this is 42, I'm guessing, centimeters. And I find it really helpful. Let me just mark 42, 42. Bring that back. I find it really helpful to find the center. Wait, yeah. What am I saying? Can't worky-talky today. I find it really helpful to tape the paper down. So I think I'm going to make this one actually pretty small. So I can probably cut this in quarters this way and probably in half. Yes. So what is half of 22 is 11. Now, see, I can't see my... 42 divided by 4. 10.5. I'm gonna do... We're just gonna do 10 inches. 10 centimeters. And then 20 centimeters. And then 30 centimeters. And then 40 centimeters. And we're gonna say... Forget about this. We'll forget about that little bit. I should be doing this on the reverse side. It doesn't matter. Okay. That was way too complicated. So what did I say I was going to do? I'm just going to cut these. I'm just going to go for it. Sorry, that needs something to focus on. 10. I think it should be, so that's 29 and a half. So that should be 14 and some. Okay. Okay, so now I have all of my paper cut. They are not quite the same size. I'm gonna give this a little trim. The height is pretty okay. I think the height is pretty okay. But the length was off a little. So now what I'm gonna do is just fold them in half. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And I don't have a bone folder, so I just use the back of my knife to run along the back just to make sure, like along the fold, so that it gets nice and flat. So I'm just going to fold all of these, ignore the extra glue there, doesn't matter. I might trim that off at the end. And I'm folding them all the same way so that the front of the paper with the texture is all on the inside. But I'm not sure that that entirely matters, but that's just what I'm doing. Both sides of the paper on this version is going to get used, so we'll see how the back of the paper reacts to some materials. But for a little sketchbook that is, you know, going to be a zero pressure sketchbook, I'm not sure that it entirely matters. And there we have our little bones of our sketchbook. I think I am going to give these just a little bit of a trim. I really don't like that it has that glue. I don't like that it has that glue on it, so I'm just going to loosely take it off. Okay, just like that. Now, what I need to do is get my Modpodge, find another little clip if I have one. If not, I have other clips that I can use. Just something to hold these together. One sec. Okay, I found another one. Just think that this holds it a little bit more securely for this size. Now, what I'm gonna do is add Modpodge to this. So just paint it on really roughly, loosely. Actually, just gonna, yeah. So you don't want it to go like too far into the spine at all, but just give a nice little layer. And this is just one of many layers that we're gonna do. I'm just cleaning up the bits that fell over the side. Doesn't really matter. Just kind of brushing it, placing it on the spine. Do I have anything longer? A hair clip. Actually, that works. There. Strawberries solve everything. Yeah. Do a little bit more. And then I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to add more. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Okay, I would suggest rinsing your paintbrush right away. Modpodge likes to harden. It's glue. Okay, now we're going to do the other method of binding that uses tape. And what size do I want? I think I want to do a little bit smaller than this. Although this is a really nice size. I'm going to try to stick to this size actually. And I'm going to use, do I have another pink? One of each color. So a white, a pink, a green, the yellow. And I wish, I'm gonna make this green one on top so it's a little bit easier to see. I wish I remembered what size I did. I am going to. Okay, and I'm gonna tape these back down again because it's really helpful to keep everything in place. I did use an A5 size sketchbook as my guide, so let's do that again. Literally, I just did this and I can't remember. It's so silly. Okay, so we're gonna cut this in half lengthwise. I think that's what I did there. And then I cut it in quarters. Easy peasy. So I'm just gonna cut this in quarters and then it will fold up quite nicely. So this is 29 centimeters tall, so I'm just doing 14.5 marks. A mark at 14.5 centimeters. As roughly, loosely as possible, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut. Cool. All right, that one's done. Now, what's that? Yeah, I'm just gonna find the center here, so 42. Oh, that worked out. My math worked out much better on this one. Yes, so now I have all of my pieces. I'm just going to fold them in half. And do the same thing with the end of my knife. Okay, and there are all of my pages folded up. I'm going to put them, actually I'm going to keep them in this order. They are all in sequential order. But before I start doing the binding on this, I'm going to do another layer of Mod Podge on here. probably still tacky, but that's okay. I'm just gonna do another layer. Okay, that one I put on a little thicker, so we'll see how many more it feels like it will need, but actually, probably one more, two more after this, I think. Okay, now it's time to make a sketchbook, another sketchbook. So this one, now what we're going to do is we have the inside of the paper, the front side of the paper, the textured side of the paper, if your paper has different textures, on the inside, and we're going to attach the back sides together. So let's see if I can do this from memory. I'm going to open it up, front side facing down, and grab the next one in order. And we're just going to tape the edges together. So I'm going to use my Japanese artist tape, run it along the seam there, trim it, and do it again. You don't have to tape your paper down. I just find that it helps keep everything straight while I get my tape ready and hold it, just so that it holds it in place while I lay this tape down. So you might also find that handy, but it is not necessary. But I do find it makes it a little bit more precise. That way I have both of my hands to work with. And then just fold that over and do it again. So then we're gonna do this until all of our pages are attached. So back side of the paper faces up, front side of the paper faces down. You have your crease this way, and we're just attaching the edges together. Okay. Done, 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 done. That part of it. Not entirely straight, but that's probably okay. All right. So all of my pages are connected together. Big, gigantic accordion sketchbook. In front side, back side has the tape. Inside is nice, clean Yeah, nice and clean page connections. Now we need to bind our spine, so that it doesn't fall apart and it's an actual book that you can flip through. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my purple tape and grab some scissors. You don't need scissors, you can use your knife, but cutting tape with scissors is just a little bit easier. And you just want strips about yay long. So I'm going to start with 2, and I'm just going to place them, 1 close to the top and 1 close to the bottom. I'm going to flip that open, and I'm going to take another 2 pieces of tape, roughly the same size, and I'm going to put them more towards the middle, like so. And then I'm going to pick up that first page that has the 2 pieces of tape, connect them together, lining up the spines and putting that piece of tape down and that piece of tape down. So the 2 outside pieces of tape are now down. The middle 2 stay, and then I'm going to take 2 more pieces of tape. Again, roughly the same size. And I'm going to put them in the same location, but down here. So 2 pieces on the outside. And then I'm going to pick up this piece of tape, this spine, and connect it with this one, and I'm going to put the middle pieces of tape down. So now we have the outside pieces of tape still up, so I'm going to follow these 2 pieces of tape and put 2 more pieces down on the inside. And then I'm going to pick up these 2 pieces of tape, connect it to this page. So can you guess what we're going to do now? I almost said the wrong thing. 2 more pieces of tape, and we're going to stick them down on the outside. Pick up these ones and lay them down. 2 more pieces on the inside. You get the deal. I'm gonna speed this up now because I don't need to narrate the whole entire thing. But if you are still a little bit confused, just rewind a little bit and you can follow along a little bit more. But we're almost done. Actually, I think that is the last one, and I probably didn't need those pieces, but I'm going to stick them down for S and G's. So there we go. Sketchbook is basically complete. Our pages are nice and bound. Nice and bound together when we open it up. Everything lays super flat. We have the front side of the paper with the texture. visible as our spreads. And the inside of the pages, the back side of the pages are on the inside there. But the binding is very secure. It's not going anywhere, even though it's just tape. And yeah, it is essentially complete. Now, this one got a little bit, I don't know if you can see. It's not as straight as this one turned out. So I'm not quite sure what happened. I think maybe when I lined them up, they got a little bit weird. So maybe pay a little bit more attention when you're doing your binding, that they actually are lined up. I can probably fix it if I want to remove the tape, but honestly, I'm not concerned. I think it's still gonna function just fine. But if that is a concern to you, then I would say just undo your tape, fix it up. Actually, maybe I will, because it's only just to there that is a real problem. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, that's much better. Much, much better. So you can adjust it a little bit if you need to. Good to know. Good to know. So that is the sketchbook complete, but I would like to have a bit more of a sturdy cover on it. So actually I'm gonna get another chipboard. I'm gonna get another chipboard and then we can make a cover. But before I do that, I'm going to do another layer of Modpodge. And I'm just kind of globbing it on now. I think this is probably going to need a while. This one's going to need a while to dry, I think, because there's a lot of glue on that now. Yeah, but essentially anyway, I'm gonna, never mind. I'm gonna grab a piece of cover. So just a piece of chipboard that I have for mailing out artwork, that I don't really do very much anymore, but yeah. So I'm just using my sketchbook as a guide. And I'm just going to cut it all the way across this way. And I didn't listen to myself. I got to rinse. And then, ta-da! What I think I want to do is find some paper to cover up the cardboard. Bonus little step. You know what I have in my junk journal stash is this beautiful flower paper that I got on a bouquet of flowers that Ray gave me for my birthday. So I'm going to use that. And I'm just going to roughly roughly, literally roughly, cut out 2 pieces. Oh my gosh. That'll do. Where? Here we go. Okay. So these will be my covers. That feels right? Or that feels right? that feels right. These ones feel right side up. Okay. So I'm gonna get my Modpodge again. Wonder glue. And I'm just going to cover my board. All right, 2 front and back covers ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is grab some scrap paper and attach. So I think I want to start with the green. I like the idea of starting, or do I want to get progressively more color? Let's do that. Then it doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna, in between the first page, like in the first page spread, I'm just gonna put this down so that I can liberally glue without it getting all over the next page down. And simply take the cover and put it on. And I'm making sure that the back of the spine is lined up with the edge here. And I'm just going to give that a press. So you'll see that it lines up with the spine. And got a little bit of glue. I'm going to put that back in there just for safety purposes. And I have another piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put that here and glue the other side down. It was a little bit neater. All right. And there we have our finished sketchbook. You can see the back, the spine, the pretty purple tape. I love the cover. I think that was a good idea. And then when we open it, we just have this really nice sketchbook that lays completely flat. You can see that. So the important thing if you're attaching the covers, if you want to add a little bit more stability to your sketchbook, is make sure that the covers are lined up to the edge of the spine. If they were to go over at all, like say you lined it up at this end, you see how much those stick out past the edge of the sketchbook. If that was on the spine side, when you opened it up, they would hit each other and then it wouldn't lay flat. But because we lined it up with the edge of the spine, when we open it up more of the middle, they just touch, which is perfect. Yeah, so I can't remember the guy's name, but I will put it on screen, link his video in the description below, his photo book. Definitely gonna make a photo book version of this, but to be able to quickly make sketchbooks that I think honestly rival the look and the feel of a pith sketchbook. Pretty cool. And that you can make them any size with any paper that you have is very neat. Now, my other sketchbook is going to need to dry overnight before I can, well, maybe I'll try it because what's the harm? But the Mod Podge, like the glue is still gluing, but yeah. It definitely needs more layers as well. I don't know if you can quite see in the spine, but it should have a good amount of layers in there so that when it opens up, it's not going to fall apart. So I'm going to keep adding layers to this. Trust that it will function as a sketchbook very similar to these ones. A little bit more delicate, I think. Like you can see here, the glue went down really far into the spine. But yeah, they hold up quite well. And what's nice about these ones is that you can use the front and the back of the paper, so you do get a little bit more use out of your paper versus these ones where we're only using the one side. So keep that in mind depending on which version you want to go with. Completely up to you. But now, if you have followed along, you know how to make sketchbooks in 2 different ways. And I hope that you will make your own sketchbooks because they are really fun to use. And I'm really looking forward to using pastels, which I love oil pastels, but I also have dry pastels and wax pastels and a whole bunch of things that I'm going to have fun with. So yeah, thanks for following along, and make sure to go check out that other video if you want to see somebody else explain it, maybe, probably, definitely better than I have. But thanks for hanging out, and I will see you very soon. Bye!